are never going to be content in a bubble of safety and abundance if the world is burning around us. Just as the environmental movement taught us that we cannot simply use our waterways as garbage dumps without dire consequences. And the changing climate is teaching us that your fire is my smoke, and that one hurricane or volcanic eruption completely paralyzes air traffic across a whole continent, and that our young people deserve a vision of hope and abundance.
That also, this wholehearted hope, I think, in this world where everything seems to be shattering apart, the shadow of human consciousness is certainly up for healing. It's wholehearted hope. And that's the wholehearted hope is not a false optimism. It's a knowingness in our heart and souls that as we heal, as we become more of who we truly are, right? That's what shapes the world we share, is that. And that we all have that power within us. Does it take courage? Absolutely.
We, in my humble opinion, my experience, we are born from love and we die back into love. And our work in between that being born and dying is to walk hand in hand as sisters and brothers and gendered siblings of all different faiths, different cultures, different religions, different classes, different sexual orientations, age, and the list goes on and on. Our message in inner spirituality is really for me, is to create safe spaces, to say you are not alone. We are not alone, because ultimately there is no other. And our work, my work, is learning about each of you, learning about myself, learning about each of you, so that I can come closer to the ultimate reality.
As this conversation went on, and I was just being crushed intellectually, I'll be honest, I came up and said, what percentage are you sure you're correct? And this brilliant and honest person said, well, about 70%. I said, oh, good. Now we're talking. We've got wiggle room. We can bridge this divide. And then that person asked me, so what about you? What percentage are you sure? And I said, oh, I'm 100% sure. And they were so offended. Like, what do you set me up? And I said, no, I'm 100% sure that I don't have it right. There's no way I could do it alone, that together we can find the way forward. And I'll end right there.
Can you imagine if we really truly accept that healing our own traumas is our service work, that there's nothing else to focus on, the rest becomes synergy, the synergy of connecting with other like-hearted, like-valued people. And as we have our own internal integration along that healing path, we become aligned with others who have similar values and visions. And that's what my message really is to those who are listening today, is that you all have a unique purpose and an integral purpose. And the path to wholeness as a world begins with the path to wholeness inside of ourselves.
I know people ask me, how do you sit next to people that had you on the death list or bombed your building? And I said to them, I've got a plan that I'm going to invite the guy who was one of the chief assassins in the apartheid state, called Eugene de Kock. And I'm going to invite him because he bombed my headquarters. It's 12 stories high, and he killed innumerable. But I'm going to invite him because he paid for it. He went to jail, he committed, and he turned out, and he's changed. And he wanted to meet me. And I want to meet him. And I want to invite all young people like you, and let's have a conversation. What is reconciliation?
Einstein said we will never be able to solve the problems that confront us, from the same level of consciousness that created those problems. And I think it has become more and more clear that the chaos and dysfunction that we're experiencing collectively in the world are the inevitable outcome of the consciousness of separation. The paradigm that says that we can live separate and cut off from the larger fabric and web of creation. And the antidote to the consciousness of separation and all that arises from it, divisiveness, competition, conflict, the consciousness of scarcity, and a view of life as a zero-sum game. The antidote to all of that is awakening to the fundamental unity of being and the interconnectedness of all of life.
All the different things, it was like there was so much wisdom. And then the whole service aspect, because it's like the more you give is the more you receive. The more that I started to put out was the more that I started getting back of life. I learned so much from the women. I learned so much from the guys. I just learned so much by just landing on the motherland. It's like people have no idea how much you can learn about anything being on the continent, the original continent of Africa. It's like it's got the answers to everything. You know, to sustainability, to love, to freedom, to family. It's like all the things that you find missing in life and stuff. And it's like, what are we crying and complaining about here in America or anybody else in the world? It's like literally, what are we crying and complaining about? You go to Africa, it's like they find joy in everything. They find joy in each other. They find joy in the simplest of things. And that brings you groundedness. And I think anybody, and it's like people go there just to heal. Every time that I go to Africa, I feel healed more and more and more, you know.
We can solve the climate crisis, transition away from the use of fossil energy, which is what's driving the crisis, to renewable energy, now everywhere on Earth cheaper than fossil energy. There is no longer an economic justification for burning oil, gas, coal, fossil gas, etc. China is building a gigawatt a day of renewable power. A gigawatt is roughly a nuclear power-sized chunk of electricity. A gigawatt a day of renewables, because they can now sell these renewables to the rest of the world, because they're cheaper than the way the rest of the world gets its energy. Second big picture solution, regenerative agriculture. We know how to pull carbon out of the air, put it into the soil durably.
So it's all about coming from these systems of separation, which seek to put people against each other, businesses against each other, where it's my property, and if I guard it stronger, then I have a better competitive edge against you, and I can feed my family better than you can feed your family. It's quite tragic, because it doesn't have to be that way. There's actually some very solid economic cases about how collaborative acts and coming into mutualized resource pools and well-managed commons actually create even more abundance for all of the people involved than if they had just taken away the part that they thought they needed to survive. Open Earth being a global ecosystem where collaboration, transparency, inclusivity, shared ideas, building innovation together leads to greater, more prosperous outcomes for the many and not just for the few. And through this, have been focalizing our energy onto creation of the Gaia Commons, which specifically addresses the open systems needed for global stewardship of commons assets applied locally first, always, right? But interconnected between.
Right now, one of my heroes is Muhammad Ali, and he is and is known as a champion of compassion. The way he lived his life in the Ali Center. But here's what he said. I don't know if you've heard this quote. He said, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it."
Wow.
Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing.
And yet that worldview, based on an old science, an outdated science of separation and materiality, is now literally being turned on its head and crucially being turned inside out. And instead of a universe that it describes without meaning and purpose, the evidence, this is vital for us, the evidence at all scales of existence and across numerous fields of research are showing instead a universe of innate meaning, an inherent purpose, a universe that began not in chaos, but exquisitely fine-tuned, ordered and relational, crucially relational and whole in its entirety. And within it, nothing is separate. Everything is differentiated. Its unity is expressed in radical diversity. That is what the evidence is showing us. But a diversity that is essentially interdependent at every scale, from the tiniest to the whole of all of space, all of time, all energy, all matter.
About serving others and giving in love. And when I activate that joy that comes into my heart when I serve another is my payment, karma is then bound mathematically to return to me the service that I rendered on behalf of another, and I just got double paid. And so it brings us in the world where instead of take with ever present hunger, we are now in give. Holy crap, I just got another gift and I didn't even know that I wanted it. Now you're living in abundance. And every day changes. Your vibration comes up, your manifestations start to express, your faith builds. Now we got magic happening, and we do it one community at a time. We have to understand we cannot be takers on this planet any longer. We must return to the earth any resources that we extract during our lifetime. And right now we're taking 20 generations and we're allowing horrible leaders that we all know to be horrible set principles for our people, and those principles aren't working because the people running them, they don't work for them either, and they don't live in the truth. So we have to face what we've become as a civilization. We have to turn our focus on understanding the healing, the quantum healing part of this. You are a quantum astronaut, whether you believe it or not. If you have dirty thoughts, then you will have dirty manifestations and expressions, and we fix the problems of Earth right here. And right here in each of your screens. We are not going to be concerned with what others are doing. We are going to shine so bright that they can't not watch and they can't not want to follow. Love powers our vessel, and we come together and we choose peace. Let's finally teach our children to love each other, and let's let the end of this nonsense they call endless wars go away with it.
We will now observe a global silent minute dedicated to divine spark activation. and we will distribute our prayers and intentions for peace, for healing Mother Earth, for restoration of the natural environment, for the realization that love heals, and that the essence of divinity has reawakened.
Next is the prayer for the healing of Mother Earth.